Back in the old days when everyone was still using the programming language C, if you had to do any type of text handling, it meant that you were probably using C strings. These were character arrays that relied on the null terminator to know when to stop reading. This meant that you had to manually keep track of all of the characters that you're using at all times, because if you overwrote that null terminator, then your program could behave unexpectedly or could crash completely. So let's take a quick look at the syntax for your typical C string. So here's a pretty typical C string here. We have a character array called my C string. It has a maximum space of 100 characters, but not quite, because let's say you're using all of them. That last character would have to be the null terminator. And if you're not using them all at the same time, if you have a partially filled C string, then you would have to know exactly where that null terminator is at all times. So then came C++ with the standard class string. It fixed most of the problems that we have with C strings. They grow dynamically and they come with some member functions, some of which I'll show off in this video. Let's start off with some simple code. All we're asking for here is user input. We're going to capture it using cin, and then we're going to echo it back. So let's see how it works for a full sentence. We're going to run the code, and then we're going to say, hello, world, question mark. But all it got was hello. Why? When you use cin to read in user input, it's going to stop when it encounters any type of white space. So when it reached the space between hello and world, it just didn't know what to do and only captured hello. But that's how cin is designed. Let's run it again, but now we're using the member function getLine. It takes two arguments, the first being your input stream, which is going to be cin for our case, since we're taking user input from the, and then it's going to take your second argument as your string. Running it again, we can see if we enter a message with spaces, it captures the whole thing. Now that we're able to take in a full sentence, what if you want to find a specific word within that text? Well, that's where the member function find comes in. It'll scan your text from left to right, and it'll return the exact index position where the specific word was found. So I've modified our example to use the find function. We have a new string called target, which is just going to be the word bad word. And then we have this, it's our position, which is of the type size underscore t. This is basically just an integer that can't be negative. It's commonly used with strings. And then we're going to use sentence.find, looking for our target, and I'm just going to see out the position. So let's enter a message. Let's just do bad word. It returned 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 is where our target started, so that's right. Now let's just say the user doesn't enter the target, then obviously .find isn't going to find it. So what does it output? Well, let's just enter a simple message. What is this? It's string npos. This is basically a huge constant that signifies that it wasn't able to find your target message within the string. Finding the starting index of a word can be very useful, but if you want to modify some text, you're going to have to do something different. Now I'm going to introduce a couple more new functions. They're going to be erase and insert, which is going to let us modify text to take out the bad word and insert something else in place of it. Actually, I lied. We have one more new function here. It's going to be length, which basically just returns the length, or how many characters are in the target. And then erase, sentence.erase, it starts at this position, which is the starting index of our target, and erases all of the characters up to the length of our target. And then once those characters are erased, then we're going to use insert, which again starts at our starting position, and it'll insert this right here. So basically, this code is just going to redact something. So let's enter something. Blah, 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 bad word. There you go. It actually redacted the bad word. And just like that, you know a little bit more about the history of the class string and how to use it. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good night.